My name's David Steele, and I was the first chairman of Shelter in Scotland in 1968. Well, everybody knows about the great television film Cathy Come Home, and that was, I think, 1966. And then Shelter got going in England, and Des Wilson was the very energetic director of Shelter. And somehow I got to know him, and he was looking to set up an office in Scotland, operating as we do under different legislation and so on, and asked if I would agree to be chairman, which I very happily did. Homelessness was still a big issue, and it so happened, and this is one of the reasons I think I got involved, there was a report published called the Cullingworth Report about substandard housing in Scotland. And oddly enough, it named Galashiels, which was in my constituency, as the town with the largest percentage of unfit houses in Scotland. And the reason for that, I looked into it and I went and visited quite a lot of the houses, was that a lot of the housing was industrial housing built at the rise of the woolen mills. And so you had these stone houses with outside loos in the garden, pails, that were called palemerks. The people from Galashiels, palemerks. And so I was very conscious that this was the case. And the Liberal Club in Galashiels had on the top floor, they had bingo and all sorts of things down below, but at the very top floor, guess what they had? They had 5 baths, so that members of the club who had no access to a bathroom could have a bath in the club. Quite amazing. So that was the background that I was aware of when I took on the Shelter job. People were very aware and very shocked by the state of housing in Scotland. And so we had a huge expansion suddenly of house building. Sadly, a lot of it in tower blocks that have since had to be pulled down. But it was a gallop, to try and improve the quantity and quality of housing in Scotland. One of the things that went wrong, as I say, was the focus on high-rise building, which tended to be very unpopular. There were all sorts of, particularly in Glasgow, Glaswegian songs about throwing jammy pieces out of 26-floor flats and that sort of thing. So I think in retrospect, that was probably not very wise, but it did happen. Looking at today, I think the difference is that, unfortunately, it is the case that there are more and more families which are broken up, and therefore the demand for housing is greater than it was in the late 60s, early 70s. The actual requirement of more houses and the flexibility of more houses for single people, that's all quite new. You have now a 50th anniversary, which is super. It's a great opportunity to remind people of how important this issue is. I think that there's no shortcut. I think that Shelter simply has to keep on badgering the local authorities and the government with public opinion behind it all the time to say this is a scandalous issue, that people, there shouldn't be anybody sleeping on the streets. It's appalling that that happens, but it does happen. And I think Shelter is in a good position to push the authorities with the public opinion behind them.